Hey, what's up guys? This is Ashley Kane with Combat Art Training, here with another video for you guys. This is my boyfriend, Andrew Mil-Spec, the one who normally does the videos. So this is video number 2 of our women's series, and today we're going to talk about who to take advice from, and also who definitely not to take advice from. Like, don't listen to anything they say. Okay, so first, to start this off, I'm going to tell you guys a little story of an experience I had working the tent at the range, where people come up and check in, sign the waiver, yada yada yada. Anyway, so I had a older woman there with her son. I started talking to the older woman. She told me, I just got my first gun. It's a Shield Easy. My son got it for me. So we start talking, and I go, hey, you should get some training, take some classes. Training's the most important thing. So I started telling her about our classes, and that one of the things we learn in the classes is how to clear a malfunction. So then her son butts in the middle of when we're talking and goes, yeah, well, if you have a malfunction in a gunfight, you're probably losing anyway. So that's when I went, not necessarily. Guns malfunction, you should know how to clear them. And that's a big thing I want to talk about that tends to happen to women, whether they're at the range or they bring up to their family that they're interested in getting a gun and learning how to use it to defend themselves. The men tend to try to take over in some cases by being like, it's okay, I'll train you, I'll teach you everything you need to know, you don't need training. I got this, you're good, I'll teach you everything.
Yeah, so that is a very big thing. Now, you gotta understand, for dudes, like, please forgive us for this, alright? But our masculinity is attached to our ability to use weapons. So, we will believe that we know more than we really know, okay? And I was totally guilty of this, you know. More classes that we take, because her and I both go to classes, every time that we take a class, we're like, man, we thought we knew all this, and there's like that much more, but really that it just keeps going. Like, it's insane how much there is to learn, and the more you learn, the more you realize how ignorant you are. With that too, dudes are very afraid to admit when they're wrong about something like that, and dudes not want to look wrong about something like this in front of the ladies in their life, or their dude friends either, especially not in front of their dude friends. Like, if I correct a dude on something, I pull him away from the other people, yeah. The woman, because I don't want to be like disrespecting them because he don't know what he don't know, you know. But go ahead, baby.
For sure. No, I love you. No, you're right. But yeah, so the person who's trying to do that for you isn't always the most competent person, isn't always the person you should be learning from. So, and even if you do have someone in your life who you feel is competent, has had training, you feel knows what they're doing, you should still be seeking training from other people as well. You should be acquiring a broad range of information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because, like, you know, I got her into guns because, like, when we first started dating, it was a non-negotiable for me. And you should have no non-negotiables for yourself also. Mm-hmm. Me, I'm like, I will not be with a woman who is unwilling to go to these classes, to adopt this lifestyle with me, because in the end, she's gonna, like, number one, I don't want her to get hurt. I don't want her to get hurt, you know? I don't want it to be where I could have done more to prepare her, but I didn't, right? Also, you know, she's around my daughter a lot. She's in charge of my daughter's protection when it's just them two. And in the future, I want to have a lot of babies with her because she's beautiful and perfect.
I love you.
I love her. So she'll be in charge of those babies' protection too.
I love you.
And you know,
yeah,
she's a nanny. Like, she protects other kids when she's there.
And that's my responsibility, and I wouldn't be able to live with if something had happened to one of those kids, someone tried to kidnap them, and I couldn't do anything about it. Mm-hmm. So this is all really important to me.
Yeah, and, like, you know, that son, first off, sorry if you bought a Shield Easy. those aren't made for fighting. Okay, those are made for people who don't know how to racket slide to be able to racket slide, and for it to have too many safeties on it for people who are afraid of guns to feel safe because there's all these switches and stuff on it.
Yeah. Safeties on a pistol are for people who are not safe.
Yeah, exactly. You need to be safe, and that's a good point too. Is like when we're talking.
I stole it from you.
Yeah, but when we're talking about who to take advice from, they have to be safe. Number one, you need to be safe. Also, we have a firearm safety video that is a prerequisite to everyone before they come to class. I don't care if you're the dude who killed Bin Laden. You need to watch a firearm safety video because no one explained it to you the way I did. So you need to understand those rules. You need to be abiding by them at all times, and eventually you need to know them by heart. You should be able to rattle them off back to me the way I taught them in the video.
Yeah. Going off of that, though, also, if the person you're seeking advice from doesn't know the firearm safety rules, especially isn't abiding by them, that's not a trustworthy person.
No. And that's the thing, too, is like, you know, we're reshooting this video because I just went and ranted about it for a half hour, but just because they were military or law enforcement or they're a hunter, they've been shooting their whole lives, and, oh, my granddaddy taught me. That doesn't mean they know anything. It doesn't. All that training, you know, even NRA instructors are very low standard to be able to become an instructor. Military training, law enforcement training is very basic, dumbed down, and they try to keep it at such a bare bones level so that they can pass a lot of people, and so that they can have one dude teaching 100 guys, and there's no possible way for there to be an accident. You know, we have a friend who was a retired corrections officer, and he was the firearms instructor. Want to take a look at my gun? You know, hand it to him. He held it and totally flagged us, and I was like, "Hey, quit flagging us, dude." He's like, "It's okay. My finger was on the trigger." Not fucking okay.
No.
So, you know, hey, good guy, friend of mine, but you know what? All anything you have to say gun related to me, irrelevant now. I don't trust you, and I'm not going to the range with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Something else I'd like to make a comparison with all of that is, like, for example, in high school, I really got into weightlifting. I started competing in weightlifting, and one of the lifts we competed in was clean and jerk and snatch. So I was training for that, but yet it's still a very male-dominated world in the weightlifting community. I'd have guys coming up to me at the gym being like, who are bodybuilders or something, and they'd be like, you should be moving the weight slowly, it tears up the muscle. And at that time I didn't really know anything, so I like talked to my brother, who was also into weightlifting. He competed, he knew a lot, he was the person I looked up to for all of that. And I asked him, I brought up what the guy said to me, and he went, no, that's not what you're working towards, so that's not the way you train. And that kind of goes along with the different niches, like, oh, I do competitive shooting, I do hunting. It's different. It's a different niche. You train a different way.
Yeah, and you know, okay, so there's this phrase called FUD. Think about Elmer Fudd. I'm hunting wabbits, right? Originally, this phrase kind of meant like guys that were into hunting, but they were against people owning AR-15s. Now, I want you forevermore, because there's the gun community and there's the gun culture, as like James Yeager would describe it. Gun community is a cesspool of idiots spreading myths and misinformation, and there are a lot of shit talkers, and believe me, I know, because every time I post a video I use those idiots to give me more views, because they'll go on shit talk and up my ratings. Thank you. But if you consider the fact that, like, we do gunfight oriented training, which should be a normal thing. Don't be intimidated by that, like, you can do it too. You can have your whole left arm missing, or right arm, I don't care, and have a hook instead. We'll still teach you how to gunfight. Like, that's why we're so big on one-handed. The one-hand manipulations and running the gun one-handed, being able to apply a tourniquet one-handed, all that. But if you consider the fact that we're talking about gunfight oriented, being able to protect yourself, those you love, and innocent bystanders, That's what we're talking about. So when a competition shooter talks about, oh, you need to keep your head this way, and you do the reload out here because it's faster, and like, no, it's coming from a different spot, you know. So when you consider the information you're getting, number one, where's it coming from, right? Is it a dude who was in the military back in the 70s? Well, you know, I think we learned more. Also, was he infantry? Was he a gunfighter? Or did he just go to boot camp? So I assure you, you will learn more in 4 hours of training with us at Rifleman 1 than you will in 3 weeks of Marine Corps marksmanship training. I know because I was an infantry Marine. I went through that. So where did that information come from? Is it good information? Is it bad information? Is it outdated? Is it irrelevant to what you're trying to do? Because you don't want to learn how to protect yourself from a guy trying to stab you from a skeet shooter. It's not the same thing.
Yeah.
So where's that information come from? And is there better information? Now, also with that, I'm going to hit a couple points real quick and I'm going to give it back to you, baby. When you're talking about shooting, right? Shooting is easy. Hitting the target, bringing the gun out, pressing the trigger with the sights aligned on the target, that's easy. Hitting the target, accuracy, the only real thing you're doing is keeping the gun still while you press the trigger. Watch our fundamentals playlist. You will be years ahead on that just by watching those videos. Watch them a couple times, okay? And as far as like trying to try out guns and stuff, that's a waste of time too.
Such a waste of time. And I see that recommended all the time on the women's carry Facebook groups I'm in. Like, hey, go take one of those gun trial lessons. And it's just, for example, I don't know how to play baseball. I don't know anything about baseball. Let's say I decide I'm going to go play baseball Saturday. I'm going to go to the sporting goods store. I'm going to try out all the bats, swing them around, and pick out which one fits my hands really well. I don't know what I'm looking for in a baseball bat. I don't know anything about baseball. Same with guns. Like, it's the same concept. I don't know why people think of it as different. It's common sense. Like, if you don't know anything about what you're looking for, you can't just try it out and be like, yeah, this one it feels good.
Yeah, it fits my hand. The problem is you don't know how to hold it to begin with.
Yeah. You don't know the correct techniques. You have no idea what you're looking for. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and again, you don't need to go try out guns. Like, we do free gun rentals. Our friends at Fight Train do free gun rentals. Tactical Response does free gun rentals. And I'm sure Don Edwards, if you email them ahead of time, you could get a gun rental. I know my buddies at in that Screenline Tactical, Don Edwards, my buddy George at Blue Line Firearms Training, I know he does rentals too.
And you know why they all do that? Because gear comes last.
Yeah.
Gear is at the bottom. That's not the most important thing. Training, mindset, all up there.
Yeah.
Like,
so basically, like, we train at Tactical Response, right? And we've adopted a lot of their philosophies. The biggest thing, like, everyone should adopt this, is the survival principle. So mindset, then tactics, then skills, then gear. So mindset in your head. Your mindset will bring you to get trained. Your mindset is bringing you to this YouTube channel to watch this video to learn more. Mindset will bring you to take a class, to get good gear, to carry that gun, to get proficient with it. But you gotta think, most people, they're right now they're trying out guns, right? And then they're gonna go to skills, right? So trying out guns is gear. Then they go to skills, and then they're like, ah, shit, it's hitting low left. Let me get a new gun. Go back to gear. And then they go back and they try this gun. And like, ah, shit, it sucks. And, blah, blah, blah. And they're just stuck down here, missing the target, holding the gun wrong, and slapping the trigger with their eyes closed. Like,
yeah. When you could have just taken a couple classes.
Yeah. Yeah, like, if you, I have it all the time where I'm RSOing and I'll walk up to a new shooter and I'm like, I can tell they have no clue what they're doing because they just jammed their pistol or they're holding it all screwed up. And, they don't know what they don't know. But I'll talk them through how to properly load it. I'll correct all the safety issues they're doing right there. And then I'll talk them through pressing out with a correct grip, how to put their finger on the trigger, how to take the slack out, how to look at the sights, and I like Karate Kid, I Miyagi them into pressing the trigger correctly and hitting the target. Now check this out. That target I'm talking about is a 12 by 18 inch piece of steel at 100 yards away. 100 yard shot with a pistol. Assuming they didn't use a stupid caliber, like a 9mm, with normal sights, you can pretty much just aim dead on it. Depending on the temperature, that can change it, but in general, you can aim dead on and hit it at 100 yards. Actually, up to 200. I'll talk them through that many times. You know, if they haven't been shooting a bunch and building bad habits, they will hit it on their first try, their first shot, as I talk them through it. And then I'll let them do it on their own, and they'll miss because they're trying to hit it. They're not focused on the right stuff. They're building bad habits again. Baby, I know there's some other stories you wanted to talk about.
Well, another thing is, like, something I see on the internet a lot is women being like, just carry in your purse. Just get one of those concealed carry purses. You'll be good. Carrying in your purse is the worst possible way to carry. Worst possible way. We're going to do a whole video on that, explaining it.
Yeah, we'll probably do one just about purses.
Yeah, straight up just about not to carry in your purse. Worst way.
Here's the basic thing. You're carrying your gun in your purse.
Yeah.
Okay. First off, go put your purse on and think of one item that's in there. Try to get out as fast as you can.
Yeah.
While you imagine that I am punching you in the face. Okay.
Yeah.
Because if I want your purse, I'm getting your purse. If you have your gun in there, I'm getting your gun.
Yeah, and I can't just be like, let me get one thing out real quick. Just one real quick. Like,
Yeah. You should be like, fuck that purse.
Yeah, like, take it. I'm out of here. Like,
but yeah, so, and that comes down to, you know, it's not just taking advice from dudes, it's also
other women.
Yeah. The simple thing is, like, are they safe, number one?
Yeah.
Do they have good training, number two? Do they live this lifestyle? Because, like, okay, you go to a gun store. Gun stores are a terrible place. I worked in one for a year and a half. I know.
Yeah.
There's not a high bar to get into there to work. And
Just go online, apply to your local gun store today. You work there.
So I would have it where, you know, I work with these customers and I'm like, hey, you should go take a class. You know, this is the gun you should get, but you should go take a class. And they're like, I'm not ready to get it. I'm like, all right, cool. Because those idiots didn't pay us commission. Oh, man. But I would have been like, oh, okay, you don't love your family enough to arm yourself tonight? That would have been terrible. But, so they leave, they come back when I'm not there, they work with another salesman, and then they leave with a gun, and I never sold them what they wanted. I never did. I sold them what they needed. Alright, if they had what they needed already, then I give them what they wanted. Right, but I always try to put them on the correct path. And it wasn't just about the gun, it was about the tourniquet, flashlight, the belt, the training more than anything, right? If we're talking gear, there's a lot more than just the gun. You should already be carrying a tourniquet, a flashlight, and a knife.
Yeah.
We'll explain that later, but that's more important than the gun, getting a gun and no training. But so they come back with this gun that they bought with another salesman, and they're returning it. And I go up, like, hey guys, what's up? You know, I want to help them out because I'm like, you know, we didn't even get commission. I just want to help them out because they were working with me before, and you know, I'm passionate about this. I want to get people going in the right direction. That's why I'm doing this. They're like, what you doing? And they're like, oh, I'm returning this. It was a Ruger LCP and 380, like a really small purse gun piece of shit 380. And I'm like, oh, why'd you buy that? And I'm like, oh, the guy over there, I knew which salesman they were talking about, recommended it. I was like, oh yeah, did you ask him what he was carrying? They're like, no. I'm like, yeah, you know he doesn't carry a gun, right? What? I'm like, no, he doesn't. Why are you returning that? Well, she can't pull the trigger on it. It's too heavy. I'm like, yeah, because you bought a stupid double action and you listen to that fucking idiot. Don't do that. We'll have videos on what guns to buy.
Another thing I almost missed that I want to hit on is one thing that I've had to get over as I've gotten older is that I used to always think like, oh, they're older than me. They know what they're talking about. Like, they have more life experience. And like, the older I get, the more I'm like, wow, like that's so far from the truth. Like, for example, the other day at the range, I had to talk to an at least 60-year-old man pointing the gun at his face, and I'm like, excuse me, sir, and he's like, I'm just oiling it, it's okay. I'm like, no, it's not okay. Like, we do not do that.
Same guy that when I was explaining the firearm safety rules,
Yeah.
Was on a cell phone.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all right. I got this. Yeah. What do you think he's gonna do when he has a load gun? All right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the, treat every weapon as if they're loaded.
Yeah.
Right. And the reason why it is that because whatever you do with an unloaded gun is what you'll do with the loaded one.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, like that dude, I would not be going to the range with him.
No.
And it's too bad I didn't catch him because I would have been a lot meaner to him.
Yeah.
But she did. She took care of it.
Yeah.
What about those two that you were pitching slings and classes to, and they?
Oh, okay. So that kind of goes along with mindset in a way.
Yeah.
I feel like, but so I had these two guys come up to me at the tent. At first, I started talking about classes, trying to get people to get training. They're like, no, we're fine. I have my CCW, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, whatever. I tried. They walk away, they go up, set up all their stuff. I gave them a target stand. He comes back, he goes, hey, so I'm shooting my Glock, where should I put the target stand to train? And I'm just like, well, maybe if you got some training, you'd know what to do when you got to the range to go shooting so that you're not just wasting ammo and money spent on using the range.
Yeah, and that's another thing. If you're going to the range and there's not an instructor, like a competent instructor, telling you what to do and evaluating you as you do it, that's not training, that's shooting.
Yeah.
Okay. You can self-teach things if you're like super into it, you super study it, I did that, and I can tell you what, it was a waste of time. I got way further ahead in the few classes I've taken.
Yeah.
Learned a lot more. Didn't have to pick through the pieces to find the right information. She's like at the same spot I was probably a year ago as far as shooting is concerned. The one-handed and some of the manipulation stuff, I'm ahead because I just done it a billion times more than her.
Yeah.
But, she's slaying it. And
well, also think about it for me. I mean, I go to the range. You're friends with so many instructors.
Yeah.
They help me out all the time. I have you standing there with me when I'm dry practicing. I'm constantly getting training.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. And but with that too, the thing is, the reason why I had grew up with guns and was in the Marine Corps, and then of course outside of that was shooting, and then it's self-teaching like pistols specifically, right? And then when we took fighting pistol at tactical response, I didn't get any corrections on my accuracy or my grip or my draw stroke or anything like that. Like I got myself up there, but it took so much time and effort.
Yeah.
If you just I got like her, she's been into this for just a year now.
Yeah.
And,
but I started with a clean plate. No
Yeah.
bad habits. Nothing.
So the thing was too, she didn't have to research and learn. It was just, hey, this is what you're gonna do. This is how you're gonna do it. Do it slow. Talk her through it a little bit, and have her do it again, and then have her do it on her own. And then I gave her some drills on how to shoot faster, work the trigger faster, and everything. Broke those barriers that were holding her back. So basically, she started out at nothing, boom, up here with her first class, and then there were some barriers, right? And we broke those, and now she's going. And the other thing too is you think about if you're taking information from someone, when's the last time they took a class? Of course safety first, and then when's the last time they took a class? Are they really just into guns?
Yeah.
They got 30 different guns and no training certificates. That probably means they don't know shit, but they're into building stuff or buying stuff and collecting. They don't got flashlights on their rifles.
Yeah.
Bad thing. They're not carrying a flashlight, tourniquet. If they are recommending you buy a revolver or a pump shotgun, or they say, oh, that's tactical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, again, I cannot emphasize this enough. Taking a CCW class does not make you competent, especially if you do it online.
Well,
I can't.
The online classes are for other states. In Florida, that doesn't even count. The instructor has to witness you fire one round safely downrange.
But if you do it into a little bucket...
So, all right, let's close it off because the camera's about to die.
Okay. I could rant on that all day. Okay.
Yeah, we will. But hey, Black Friday sale is still going on right now. If you're watching this later, sorry. But good class. you know, you don't need to go to the range with someone. You don't need to try out guns. Just take a class. We rent out guns for free. Concealed carry permit certification for the state of Florida with our classes comes for free. We don't charge for that. It's a gunfight class. It's not a concealed carry permit class. All right. That certification comes for free with the class. You learn to gunfight in it. For the ladies only classes, it's all the same curriculum that everyone else has always been doing, but we're adding into it more stuff, mindset stuff, and give you an opportunity to try out good options to carry your pistol. And we'll let you shoot my AK and ARs and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, well, like and subscribe and keep fighting communism.
Keep fighting communism.